South by Southwest represents kind of the biggest national convergence of major areas in media, including technology, interactive companies, music industry, film industry, and in my estimation is probably the most unprecedented opportunity for students to gain invaluable networking experience and also the ability to learn firsthand from the leaders and change agents in those industries that they want to get involved with. Anyone at the university is free to apply. It is very competitive. We probably have 3 times as many students apply that get in. The big thing is really being able to clarify the intention of going. It's about identifying what the educational goals of the experience are and what the kind of intention of networking is. Preparation's a big thing. So for me, I tell them, it's no good for them to go into the Raging Rapids and just get swept away once they get down there. It's really about how to prepare and how to navigate so much activity and so many opportunities.
How I prepared for the experience was basically just getting together my own personal assets for my own story, figuring out, who you are, what you do, and then how you then present that to the possible people that you're going to meet in your mentorship sessions or anybody that you meet out on the street, basically. So mainly the elevator pitch was used when you were meeting mentors or anything like that, of how you could tell them who you are, where you're from, what you do, what you're looking to do. So you got to rely on yourself in a lot of these situations and really present yourself in the best manner.
I admittedly spent all my free time end of fall semester, beginning of spring semester, just every single day, day in and day out. The minute there was a new announcement, I was just Googling like crazy, like a mad woman, making all these spreadsheets, making all these schedules. And Josh was really big about making sure we had that structure. I didn't want to go down and waste time and waste a week not knowing anything. But you also don't want to plan so much to where if you get overwhelmed, you're going to get lost and you're going to panic. But Josh was always telling us, make sure you have a backup plan. If something gets moved or something gets canceled, make sure you have something else to pivot to, because he really emphasized using as much time as we could while we're down there to get the best out of the experience.
Yeah, well, after they've had about a week to collectively pick the pieces of themselves off of the floor, because every student that goes, I tell them beforehand, this trip will be even better than you can imagine. And then when we get back, they say, it was even better than you saying it was better than I could imagine, in terms of the range of experiences and just what a lot of people call South by moments, which are just things that aren't even scheduled, that just happen. But there are kind of 2 primary things that students have to do when they get back. The first and the most important is the follow-up. So I always tell students that the experiences down there only matter insofar as you follow up after the fact. So we spent a lot of time with them working on follow-up emails, follow-up phone calls. I have a whole strategy with them when they get business cards. They get the business card, they take a note on who that person was, how strong the contact was, and they literally just line all their business cards up, all their contact notes, and they just start firing off emails and phone calls. So that's kind of the first big thing, and that has to be done almost immediately after getting back within the first week. Then after there's the processing, which really comes in the form of them doing a summary of the experience, kind of reflecting on what the takeaways were for them personally and professionally, but also South by Southwest is really an arbinger of things to come. So it gives you, what I tell students, is about a 12 to 18 month range to see where industry spaces are going before anybody else in the country, in some cases in the world even, have identified. So very often in my classes, I'll pull the trends that I see down there and I'll say, here where things are going. And then the next year when I teach that class and those things are happening, it's yeah, we could see that's where things were kind of panning out. So students really get a very unique look at where spaces are going, and I really encourage them to put that into motion as much as possible for themselves, to think about where they're going in the marketplace and kind of where they see jobs opening that didn't exist before they went down, that are opening as they prepare to graduate.
I don't think you can get an experience like this anywhere else. I've made a lot of connections throughout Ohio, and especially in Athens in the local music scenes when I was really involved there. But people come from all over the country, from all over the world for South by, and they converge into one little city to do this experience. And you get to meet people who might only be, a name on Billboard one day, but then they're going to be in your email connections the next day. I was meeting people that worked at my favorite labels, people who worked for my favorite brands, and now I get to call them my friends because of the connections I made while I was there. This was my first time going to Austin for South by, and I just loved the atmosphere so much that I decided to move here after college, and I'm still here because of that passion.
I had never been to anything like South by Southwest before. I'd never been to like a music film conference ever before. So just having that whole thing and being immersed in Austin, and it's such a diverse city, and there's so much to do at South by. It's insane. You know, you could go to all kinds of different showcases, meet tons of different people. Like it still blows my mind of like some of the people that I met just randomly. So it's just like, it's also just creating memories, and it's just, you know, you're actually in the field of it all, you know, and basically like you have every opportunity in the world to, you know, get yourself out there, get yourself known.
I recall back to my experience as a student here at OU, which was great, but I always feel like there was this frustration that, you know, I have all this passion, I have all this drive, I know that I can be good in this area, but you're yearning for connection, you're yearning for opportunity, you're yearning to meet those people in those industry spaces. And that's what this trip provides. It's like a conduit to the future for these students. And I love helping to facilitate that, because they come back excited, they're filled with passion, and not just that, but it's actuated. Like they are able actually to go out and do those things and not just learn about them and talk about them. And I've seen, you know, nearly a decade's worth of alumni come out of that are all across the music, film, and interactive industries as a result.